All right, guys. Now, next guest is coming off an incredibly impressive win over Alan Jouban last month at UFC London, one of the most dangerous welterweights in the world and definitely our favorite Viking to talk to, Gunnar Nelson. Welcome back to Submission Radio. It's been a while. How are you today?
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for having me. I'm very good. Just came back from training. Feeling good, feeling relaxed right now.
No, good. Well, that's the way we like you to feel before an interview on Submission Radio. So hopefully we can take advantage of your current mood. And congratulations on the big win at UFC London. I mean, what's the last month been for you since the big fight? We know you basically got swamped by media afterwards. Have you enjoyed the extra attention, or have you had a chance to have you even had a bit of a chance to decompress yet?
Yeah, it's not been too bad, to be honest. Maybe I'm getting used to it a bit, and but yeah, it's been nice. I just went straight back home, and you do a good few interviews and stuff like that. But it's been cozy.
Very nice. Well, hopefully we'll keep that trend going of good interviews and add another one to the list. Speaking of decompressing, a little birdie told us, Gunnar, that you've actually really been getting into PlayStation lately, and you even play online, headset and everything. Is this true?
Yeah, it's very true.
Tell us about this addiction. How far in are you?
I'm deep, man. I'm deep.
What are you playing online?
I play Call of Duty on PlayStation.
Oh wow! And you like to get online, get the headset happening. How often do you play, and how long do you normally play?
Yeah, you need that headset, man. You gotta hear what's going on around you. You gotta hear them sneaking up on you. Turn on these bastards, Yeah, I play quite a bit. I got a good bit of free time, and I just jump on and do a few games. If I'm home, I usually play most days. At least a little bit. Sometimes a couple of hours, few hours, maybe. At night.
I mean, the question that we usually ask every fighter that talks about gaming, and by the way, me and Casper, we love to game, and I'm a PlayStation 4 man myself, but nice. The trash talking situation. Take us through this, because you are, you're a quiet guy, you're a humble man, your actions do the speaking for you, but I imagine Call of Duty, we've all been in those situations where you've got all these 12-year-olds telling you to F off and hey, you're a mofo and hey, you're nothing, and they kill you over and over. So do you have those moments where no one's looking around, there's no one in the room, and you just, you mention a couple of things to them online, and also in those moments, has anyone ever actually figured out that you're Gunnar Nelson?
Well, I play with a couple of guys from England, and it was quite funny because we started talking, and after I've been playing with them for a while, a few weeks or a few months, I don't know, they started kind of talking more and started talking about UFC, and I was like, okay, you watch UFC and all that kind of stuff, and then eventually I tell them who I am, and they're a bit like, yeah, right, of course. But then one of them, I just basically proved to him, the guy I play most with, and then he goes off and tells his friends, and they're all like, oh, fuck off, who are you talking about? But funny thing, he ends up coming up to my fight in London with a friend of his, and we meet him there, and it's fun. It's pretty cool.
Wow, that's crazy. Gaming brought you guys together. It's amazing how you reveal that you're Gunnar Nelson and no one believes you. It's like telling people I'm Batman, and everyone's like, sure you are.
It's like when we reveal we're Submission Radio to people on PlayStation, Gunnar, and then they're like, what's Submission Radio? And stop talking to me. And then they tell their mum to block us.
Well, all right, there's a lot to get into, so let's get into it. Going back to, you mentioned guys from London. Speaking of UFC London, you almost missed out on fighting on the card. What did you think of the fact that a number of fighters turned down the offer to fight you? And have you ever had this situation before the fighters have said no to facing you?
Yeah, loads of times. I've had hard time finding fights usually, most of the time. A lot of guys drop out or it's hard to get an opponent in the first place. Yeah, it was a little bit of a weird situation because first they told us that there wasn't any space on that card, so I wasn't going to be on it. Then a month before, they're like, you can be there co-main event and we have to find you an opponent. I'm like, great, and then they go around trying to find an opponent, and nobody wants to fight or is able to. I don't know what the situation was, but then Jouban steps up and we just immediately say, yes, it's getting close, and I just want to get in there because it's been a while, you know? So I'm very happy that he did, and it was a good night.
And just curious, what were some of the names that were offered to you that kind of declined the fight to fight you in London?
Well, there was talk about, you know, Damian Kim, Neil Magny. I don't remember. Masvidal maybe, and a couple of others. But I don't know the situation, if they were just mentioning them to us and seeing if we would agree, and we just say yes to everyone, and then you know, and then I don't know if they hadn't talked to them yet, and then they were injured, or they were, I don't know what they had in their mind, but yeah, it was just a little weird situation. It took a while to find an opponent, but you know, we managed.
Yeah. Well, respect to Alan for stepping up. Do you sort of feel like the welterweight division is a bit on notice now and recognizes that, you know, you're very stiff tests and you could seriously derail any of their title aspirations? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I appreciate that he stepped up there. You know, he's a cool guy. He's a tough fighter. You know, and I mean, it was a big win for him if he would have won the fight, you know. So he jumped on it, you know. That was his view on it, and a good one, in my opinion. You know, I definitely would have taken the fight if it was vice versa, you know.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and I mean, he's fought in Australia a bunch of times. Just the guy that goes out there, takes his matchups, and tries to put it all out there. Now, after the fight, you said you enjoyed spending more time in the octagon because you can learn more. What would you say you learned from this past fight?
Yeah, you know, spending time in there just gives you, you know, you just get more experience in there. You know, that feel, that energy that's inside the cage is different, you know, than training. So it's good to get some air time in there if you're not getting damaged, you know. So from this fight, it was you know, he was setting up his strikes with his kicks. I was taking my time a little bit, trying to find the openings. What I learned, I think, what helped me in this fight was just being able to strategical thinking, you know, just like taking my time, watching him, you know, feeling how he moved, and then kind of pulling the trigger, you know, touching him a little bit, you know, putting him against the cage, getting that feel, maybe not even committing that much to a lot of the things that I did, and then pulling the trigger when needed, you know. Sometimes you have to drag it a little bit just to get that little bit of extra, you know, find these few little openings, and don't necessarily go for them right away, but wait for the moment, wait for the moment until you get your rhythm going, and you know, yeah, just taking my time a bit. Whereas before it was more just pure instinct and not even thinking at all, you know, just going back and putting up a strategy while I'm in there, you know.
Yeah. I love that while you're talking about taking your time and being more sort of patient and strategic, you're still putting the guy away in the second round. I mean, it's one of the things that fans love. And you said that you felt different in the cage this past fight than you felt in a long time, maybe different more than ever. What do you sort of attribute that to, and have you figured out how to bring that out of yourself every time?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is that what I'm talking about is, you know, you can you go by instinct, right? And you can finish your fights quick, right? But some of these fights are going to be tough. You know, some of these fights, it might just not all click, and then you have to kind of pull back and like what is it here? What is it that I need to do? And I've noticed that in training, that sometimes I've been training with some guys and I'm having trouble with this or that, you know, and then I just kind of pull back a little bit and I kind of trying to find the missing puzzle, and then all of a sudden you kind of find it, and then it becomes like easy almost, you know. But before it was like almost impossible or very hard. But because I want to finish my fights, right? So instead of going on autopilot mode and just trying to finish it right there and then, maybe just finish it in 2 minutes, or finish it in, you know, 2 minutes from here, or a round and a half from here. You know, try to take my time to get that finish, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, after the Tumenov fight last year, you told us that you're going to take some time to enjoy the summer with your son and have a bit of a vacation. What was that like? And what did the time away from the cage do for you? Did you feel like you needed another breather? And did you perhaps gain any perspective from your time away from the cage?
Yeah, I always learn a lot when I get some time off and go just training, not having any fight coming up. And I feel like that does me a lot of good as well. You know, you can you train differently when you don't have a fight coming up. You know, when it's camp, it's camp. When you're just training, you're just playing and you're more relaxed maybe, and you'll happen to figure out a lot of stuff. You let yourself just kind of flow, and that feels very natural to me. I spent a lot of time with my son, and obviously it was a bit of letdown that I injured myself. You know, that wasn't really the plan, but it turned out not too bad, you know.
On the plus side, you got to spend more time with your son, and then, of course, more importantly, you got to spend a lot of time in front of the PlayStation. So I think it worked out for everybody.
Yes.
I was going to say, you know, something that we've always wanted to ask you, never have. You've often been described as a very stoic guy, kind of like Fedor or Emelianenko. I've always wondered, you know, when you're in the octagon or the cage, what does the crowd do for you? Like, you know, when obviously you've got a massive Irish support, and obviously in Europe you're huge. When those fans are going crazy and they're cheering for you, are you able to sort of take it in and feed off the crowd, or is it more of a case where you have to block it out in order to focus? What's going through your mind?
No, I do take it in, you know. I don't notice it that much. Like when I'm walking in, I notice the crowd, I notice everyone, but at that moment I'm just I'm walking to work, you know, and I just I don't really take it that much in then. I'm just kind of in my own zone, if that makes sense. You know, some guys are, you know, putting their arms up and waving and jumping around and soaking it all up. At that moment, I'm not really into that too much, you know, but I do hear it sometimes, you know. I remember some situations where I maybe gotten somebody down, got into the mount or something, and I hear, you know, insane cheering, you know, just for like a split second, but then I go just back to work. But then after the fight, obviously, it feels amazing, yeah. And just outside the cage as well, when you feel the support you're getting, it does a lot for you, definitely.
I mean, we know you've sort of been like this for a really long time, but when people compare you to Fedor, is he sort of a guy that you ever looked up to and sort of wanted to model your demeanor and martial arts mind after? Is he someone that sort of inspired you, the way he handled those kinds of situations?
Yeah, well, I didn't see too much of him outside the cage, to be honest, but he was always my favorite fighter back in the day. You know, I just liked his style so much. I did like the way he was calm, and maybe I you know, related a little bit to his style. You know, I didn't relate as much to them guys that were like screaming and running around, going crazy and all aggressive. I would rather be. I would, you know, relate a lot more to him and his kind of, you know, the way he was focused when he was going into the fight. That was more how I felt when I was going into my fights. But his style as well was just so nice, and he was just like a little. Well, he was a small heavyweight. He's a big guy, obviously, but he was like a. You know, like he just looked like an ordinary dad, you know, got that belly going and just went in there and just whacked someone. And he could do it all as well. He would submit people. He would knock them out. Great takedowns, great judo, you know, quite slick on the ground. Yeah, he just got the job done in a nice fashion, I thought. And yeah, I always liked him.
And I'm curious, what about the funny memes of like your different facial expressions and emotions where it's just like 20 of the same picture? Do you sort of get a laugh out of that? And you kind of surprised that people have this like fascination with you and your calm demeanor?
Yeah, sometimes. Like, actually, Conor sent me this picture the other day. It was like my face just very, very normal, and it just said, rolling on the floor laughing underneath. That cracked me up a little bit, I have to say. But yeah, it's there's been a lot of that, you know, for a good few years now. It is funny. It is funny.
Mm-mm. Well, we've been speaking of your team. We've been spending some time with John Kavanagh here in Australia. We just actually wrapped up a show with him last night in Melbourne, and we've been talking with him a little bit about what's next for you. He mentioned to us that at the moment you're having a little bit of trouble once again finding an opponent. Just talk to us a little bit. Are people sort of just like with London? Are you having trouble with people agreeing to fight you for your fight now?
Yeah, I am. I am actually. I'm struggling a little bit getting an opponent. I don't know. I think a lot of them are matched up, and so we'll have to see. I know Wonderboy is probably not looking to fight me at the moment, but he said that we'll end up facing each other, and that's how I see it anyway. I've always said that I don't mind who I fight, like in which order I fight them guys. I'll definitely end up fighting them, and the other guys as well. So, we'll see. Well, I'll get an opponent.
Were you a little bit disappointed? Yeah, I mean, I guess you're not too fussed because you're happy to fight them whenever. I'm just curious, on Wonderboy, did you pay much attention to his fight against Tyron Woodley at UFC 209 and sort of seeing what you saw? Did it give you confidence that you'd be able to beat him, possibly even more dominantly than others have in the past?
Yeah, definitely. I can see flaws in his game, like anyone. So I could definitely see myself beating him. And I would like to get that fight, and I will get that fight eventually. But I'm not stressed, I don't mind when I fight him. But yeah, that second fight against Woodley, I didn't. It wasn't great from either guys. I thought obviously these are two very high level guys, and they were a bit too wary. Something they were like. They didn't pull the trigger. I thought in the second fight they would maybe pull the trigger a bit more, because they fought each other before. But it was kind of like the whole fight was like the boring moments of the first fight, because the first fight was pretty damn good, I thought. But yeah, sometimes it's just like that, innit?
And before we sort of jump on to Woodley and ask you a couple of questions, I mean, last night it seems like when people are asking John who would fight you next, Neil Magny sort of popped up as the name of possibly the most likely opponent. Is that sort of what you're looking at the moment as the next most likely fight, or with Neil, is that even question marks all over that one?
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I think he's injured, but I'm not sure. But I think he's injured. But that would have been something that would make a lot of sense. And I don't know when it will happen, but I think he's injured at the moment. But yeah, definitely. He's somebody that will make sense for a next fight, for everyone.
And you're obviously coming off 2 dominant wins, 2 really good performances. Whereabouts do you think you fit in the division right now? Like, I know that you're not too fussed in what order you fight these guys, but I mean, while there's a lot of hype and fan support behind you, you've always sort of seemed kind of unfazed by the rate at which you ascend the rankings. But are you at a point now where you're eager to face a top 5 fighter and sort of prove to the world that you're a contender? Do these last couple of wins make you feel like you're pretty much ready for these? I don't know if obviously the UFC is not necessarily going to give you a title fight, but just to really run down the division at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I want to get to fight the top guys in the division, and I'm ready. And it's just a matter of who will fight me next, and we can keep climbing. That's my view on it. I don't know. I think I'm ranked maybe 9 at the moment or something like that. I don't really follow these ranks too much, but yeah, definitely. I'm ready just to fight these top guys. I thought I did take the fight against Jouban, and that kind of shows that I'll take a fight against somebody that's ranked below me and give them a chance, So I think the other guys should do the same.
And if we've seen anything, rankings don't really indicate much these days. Anyway, now the crazy thing is, last time we spoke to you, Robbie Lawler was still champion. What do you sort of think of Tyron in general as a fighter and what he's been able to do as champion? Because we're pretty sure you originally picked Lawler to beat him. Are you starting to sort of see him as potentially a guy that could hold the belt for a long time and be a long-term champion?
I don't think so, to be honest. But he is good, and he's got a lot of power. And I think a lot of them guys have power. He's got a lot of speed as well, and he's aware and he's ready. You see it against Thompson that he's got good reflexes. You know, he's ready at all times, and he kind of even maybe pulls back a little bit more than some guys. You know, stays on his back foot. You know, kind of defensive, and then he explodes forward. He can cover a lot of distance fast. I mean, he's a lot smaller when it comes to, you know, like length than Thompson, but he was able to catch him a few times with that right haymaker, you know, and that just shows you that he's really fast coming forward, because I mean, Thompson is not slow. He moves in and out quick, so he should have been able to back off or defend these huge shots. But you know, he caught him a few times, so he's very fast. You know, so he's done really good with what he has, I think.
And I think the last time we spoke to you was around about a year ago, and you were saying back then that Demian Maia should be the guy to get the next title shot, and here he is, still hasn't gotten the title shot, but a lot of people are expecting him to be the next guy. And, you know, we're always curious, because you've obviously firsthand felt his abilities in the cage. Who do you think would win between him and Tyron at this stage? Do you think Tyron's takedown defense will be too much for Maia to sort of be able to work his amazing grappling game?
No, I think Maia would definitely beat him. Of course, anything can happen. Woodley could land one of them bombs, but I think Maia would beat him. I think he'll get him down with his single leg. Tyron is a stocky guy, you know, short, stocky guy. They don't deal that well with single leg, so I think he will take him down with a single leg and just finish him, you know.
And at the moment, people are wondering who Tyron will even be fighting next. He put out an Instagram post where he's begun his camp, and he's also alluded a little bit to in a couple of social media posts that it's Conor McGregor. Of course, we know it's not Conor McGregor. We spoke to John last night, and everybody knows this Floyd Mayweather fight's just huge. But I'm just curious, when you and Conor are very, very close, do you guys ever discuss what would happen if you sort of became a contender in well, you are almost a contender, but if you were in that point where you were getting title shots in welterweight, would that be a situation where you guys sort of had a chat and then he'd focus more on the other divisions? Do you guys sort of have a bit of a chat about how that kind of works from a team perspective? Because you are sort of climbing the ranks and getting closer to that title shot.
Not really, but I don't think we would fight ever, to be honest. We've been training partners since we were 17, and I don't think that would ever happen. He'll just focus on something else, to be honest. You never know what he's going to do next. You know, if he beats Mayweather, I'm not sure if he will ever fight again, to be honest. I don't know, but I could see him just floating off and doing something else crazy, you know?
Wow.
But otherwise, maybe he'll fight Khabib or something next, if Khabib is in shape. You know, I don't know, what's something wrong with his kidneys or something after that cut. Well, yeah, we'll see. That's you know, I don't know what he's gonna do, but he's just focusing on one thing at a time. And right now, it's Floyd Mayweather, and I'm looking forward to that myself.
Yeah, I think everybody is. We're going to circle around back to you in just a moment, so we can finish this interview on you, Gunnar. But obviously, you mentioned that you think that you're not really sure if Conor McGregor would even come back after the Mayweather fight. What is sort of giving you that indication? Is it have you ever spoken about something along those terms? Have you had a conversation with him in the past where you know you've gotten that vibe from him? What are you sort of basing that on, in your opinion?
I'm basing it on that he wants to go bigger every time. And if he beats Mayweather, like he's taken the 2 belts, right? And then he beats Mayweather in this huge super fight. And I'm not sure what he's going to see as a next challenge or a next thing that he wants to do. I don't know. I don't really see what he wants to come into the UFC again for, you know. I'm not sure. Obviously, there's always something, you know. But he's also having a baby, and yeah, I'm not sure where his mind is going to be. He's going to have a ton of money anyway. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe he'll do another boxing match or something if it goes well. You know, maybe he'll get more money there. Be more interested in that. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. You know, I have no idea.
And that's a fascinating point that you bring up. Actually, if you beat Floyd Mayweather and in boxing, you make a lot more money in boxing. Maybe stick around in boxing and see what happens next. That's a great point. Let's circle back to you. I mean, another big thing that's sort of happening in your division right now, Gunnar, is the fact that GSP is back. And while he is sort of taking on Bisping in the middleweight division, he is seen as one of the greatest welterweights of all time. Are you excited about the possibility of him maybe coming back to welterweight soon and having the chase to face him, especially considering that you both have very strong morals as far as pure martial arts sort of mindsets and the fact that you both started in karate?
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I used to watch him a lot and train with him a few times in New York, actually. Yeah, I'm not sure what he's up to. We'll see how this fight goes for him, but I think he's looking for them super fights as well. It would be interesting to see him go back to the welterweight. I'm not sure if I think he's just looking for these big super fights here and there, maybe fight Anderson Silva, or I think these guys are more looking for a big payday than a tough fight, to challenge themselves. I think they might be looking for a big payday more than that. He's already proven so much, and that's what I think. But I'm not sure,
Yeah, I think you've dashed our dreams with a hard dose of reality. So I think you're spot on there. But I think that a fight between you guys would still be extremely fan friendly, and it'd just be amazing clash of styles. We'll let you go in just a moment, Gunnar, because we know it's super late in Iceland, so we appreciate the time. Just quickly, what is the timeline that you're eyeing? We know that there's obviously no opponent locked down, but in an ideal world, how soon would you like to get back in the octagon?
Well, we were talking about this summer, maybe July, maybe August. I don't exactly know what cards on. I know there's one in Glasgow in July, mid-July or late July. That would be a cool one. But then maybe it will be later. There's another one in Rotterdam somewhere at the end of August or maybe beginning of September. I'm not sure, but I would like to get 2 more this year anyway. So we'll have to fit them in somehow.
And I mean, final question. We know your friend Conor McGregor was in a Call of Duty game. Kind of feels like you should be the one in the Call of Duty games. And obviously the producers and creators of Call of Duty listen to our show weekly. So if they're listening out there right now, Gunnar, what's your message to them?
The Call of Duty community?
Yeah, or if the creators of the game, you never know who's listening. Give them your message as to why Gunnar Nelson should be in the next Call of Duty game as a character.
I started playing this game, just this new game now, Infinite Warfare. I didn't play it before. I'm getting pretty damn good at this, so I can definitely picture myself doing a little bit of streaming, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. I think people are going to like that. But I'd love to be I said to my friends, actually, I'd love to be a zombie in one of them games, be a zombie that just comes back over and over again. There's nothing you can do. I'm always coming back.
Yeah.
That's a funny concept,
That would be sick. I think the next step is the Gunnar Nelson Twitch channel. I think everybody's on it these days, and I think fans would love it. But if not, to see you in a Call of Duty game, especially as a zombie, would be a treat for everybody. Gunnar, we always appreciate you coming on the show. Guys, don't forget to follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Gunny Nelson. There's a lot of amazing photos on there. I don't know who your photographer is, but there's some really high quality stuff and a lot of fun action there. So, Gunnar, once again, thank you so much for coming to the program. Appreciate it, especially because it's late there, and good luck in getting that next fight. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.